Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and today I'm coming to you with a quick video and a short tutorial just showing you the Anna Griffin Empress machine. If you haven't already seen it, most of you probably have, but I wanted to let you know my thoughts on this machine. I went ahead and purchased it because I have really liked the use of dyes in my crafting and card making, and as you know, the other machines you have to hand crank, and this one is electronic. Just to give you a quick run through the machine, it just has the 3 buttons: reverse, the power button in the center, and run. It has a low profile, so it does not allow for the bigs dyes or the thick ones, but all of the other ones will fit through, and it's really powerful. So what I wanted to do, and I just pressed that by accident, what I wanted to do was to try it to see if it would alleviate the use of my arm, because it can become painful for me after a while. So that's why I went ahead and got it, and so far I've been using it quite a bit, as much as possible, and I really like it. So I've heard mixed reviews about it. So far I absolutely love it. And I'm going to show you why. So just to let you know, this is the handle. It's quite heavy. I think it weighs about 16 pounds or something like that. And they did have this whole show on HSN about it, which is where Anna Griffin released it. Although you can get it directly through her website also. You know, it doesn't take as much room, however, is what I wanted to say. On at least on my work surface, it takes up less room than the Spellbinders, maybe a little bit more than the Spellbinders. So this is the larger of the 2 Spellbinders machines. Now when you open this up like so to use it, as you can see, it takes up this amount of room also. The Empress would be essentially this closed. So that was something else that I liked about the machine. And okay, so it comes with the small plates, which are they're actually wider. If you own a Cuttlebug or a Spellbinders, they're actually wider. These are actually 7 inches wide instead of 6. And then it comes with an embossing folder, as you can see. I've been using it, which is also thicker than any of the other ones out on the market. And then it comes with the magnetic plate, which I thought was great. And then it comes with a shim. So the good thing about it is that if you're not going to use the Anna Griffin dyes, then you already have a shim to use with the thinner dyes, which a lot of us have. And what do I mean by thinner dyes? I mean the Spellbinders, Crafter's Companion. These dyes with the lower profile can go through the machine, but you just have to use that metal shim that I just showed you. It also comes with a set of dyes from Anna Griffin, and I'll show you what those look like cut out because I've been using them. And then these are they're a bit thicker. So when you use these, you're going to get a really awesome impression, as well as the 3D embossing folders. And this does come with an embossing folder. I embossed it, and just to give you an example, this is what it looks like. So you get a really nice deep impression, and this was just one pass through the machine. And of course, the better the cardstock, the better it works for you. This is what it cuts like with the die, and then I did emboss it. So there's a sample of that. So you can tell it's quite nice. I wanted to show you the other thing that I liked about it was that you can get the extended plates. And then these are the larger ones, and you can already tell, I mean, when you get a machine, you're going to cut into one of the plates quite a bit. But then it has the magnetic one. It also has the embossing one in this size, and the metal shim. This is what I'm referring to. So you're not going to miss out on being able to use all of the surface area with this size, because you can use this metal shim. And what I loved about it, and that this was my I guess what sold me on the machine, is that all of the other dyes that I have that are larger, I kind of miss out on, because the embossing folders, or the embossing mats, I'm sorry, that come with the other ones are always the smaller ones. And with this one, look at the size of this. I mean, and of course you can order these for the other machines, but this one is so nice and thick that you get a really clear and precise embossing with this, and that's what I really liked about it. And so what I do is I keep it on these plates on my cart, one of the rolling carts that some of us have, and so it doesn't take a lot of room. And the other thing is that I can fit, for instance, when I was making a project that I'm going to show you, I could fit all of these dies on at once on my magnetic mat here, and place my piece of paper on top, run it through, and in one pass every single one of these cut out. So I was really happy with that. And then on these also fit at the same time because they're the lower profile dies, so that made me happy. So it makes it for, you know, time saving. So here's what I'm going to show you. Here's the flowers that I was referring to, and these are the, let's see, they're called the Tudor Rose Collection. I picked these up because I really like the variety and the embossing. That's what really caught my eye on these. So here's what they look like, and this was one pass, and I don't believe I even embossed these, and look at how crisp they cut out. Here's another one, and again, this is without running the embossing folder. The machine is so powerful. Now, it's highlighted, of course, and you can see it a little bit better because I've colored these in. So what I did was that I used my Oxide inks in different colors, and let me show you another one. And then for something like this, these pop out, you see that? And so some of them didn't pop out entirely, which I'm okay with because I actually wanted them to stay in there. But for a die like this that's much more intricate, you might want to go ahead and just emboss it, and the embossing is going to go ahead and get it all you know, clean cut. Whereas if you don't emboss it, then you might have a die like this that's a little more intricate that doesn't cut entirely through. But this would take me with a manual machine, regardless of which one, the Spellbinders or not, it would take me more than one pass to be able to cut that out clearly anyway. So I'm not disappointed with that. This was one pass, cut everything through. This was the little jar, which I absolutely love. I think that die is just so pretty. So this is what layers on top, and what I've done is I used a stamp to, I used this stamp here. It's a Bible journaling stamp. It came with all these little hearts, and this was from what is it called? AC, American Crafts, I'm sorry. So I used that, and what I did was I used different Oxide inks, colored them in, and then I used gel medium there to gloss it up. And then I also used this stamp here that says Grace, and that came from this set here. And this is from Hampton Art. So there you go. I was able to make that really easily. And again, I did all of these cutouts at once. And then this is from the Anna Griffin die set that comes with the machine. I got a little gel medium on there, and there we go. So that's what that looks like. Here's the butterfly. Okay. And what else did I cut out? Here's the little one of the little tags. What I did was I stamped it, as you can tell, with a little butterfly, and then I added some gold thread. So yeah, all of that cut out so easily. And then these I'll be using in my project. These are just cut out using a punch. So that was not a die. And as well as these little butterflies, because these are I use my Martha Stewart punch for those. And these are the same little hearts. I just wanted to show you because I'll be using them in my project also. And what I did was that I placed washi tape on my paper first in that pretty rose pattern. And after I placed my washi tape on my paper, then I cut them out. The Anna Griffin die, here it is in white. And this is using 110-pound cardstock. Of course, you know, the thicker the cardstock, I think the better, because you're going to get all of that beautiful detail. And I did emboss this one. And what I did was I just colored the edges with Oxide inks to match. And then I used the oval center to cut out this image, and this was given to me by Jolie. Thank you so much, Jolie, for the stamp and the swap that we did. So she sent me this little stamp and said that she didn't really use it, so she thought maybe I could make use of it, and I certainly will. As you can tell, she's so adorable. And this is a Whimsy stamp, and her name is Bella Soul. I don't know if she's still available or not, but she's absolutely adorable. And what I did with her was that I just colored her in using alcohol markers and oxides. So again, to keep it all monochromatic. And what I've done also is I've cut a piece of paper that is 10 inches by 7. I'm going to fold this in half. I'm just going to score this in half at 5 inches. And I'm going to do it gently first, as I like to do, so that I don't rip the paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold that like so. And this paper is from Paper Studio, if I'm not mistaken, from Joann's. And it's the, again, the 110-pound cardstock, and I'm really liking it. I normally get the either the Recollections 110-pound cardstock or Nina, but I'm really happy that I picked this up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to layer these pieces here, and what I had planned was to layer this one first. So I'm just going to use some tacky glue here because my my art glitter glue froze. That's what happens when you live in the tundra. I'm just kidding. I had very little left and it solidified, so that's what happens. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and place this here, and I just cut this down to about a 1/16 of an inch smaller than my 5 by 7 base here. And I did it off camera just for the sake of saving time. And this paper, I believe, is from Recollections, from Michael's, one of those paper pads that you can get. So now I want to distress the edges of this one. So I've distressed the edges of my paper using my Cricut tool here. It's got these little blades on the sides. You can also use the edge of your scissors. Now, just cleaning off it's going to make a mess if you've never done that before. Just be prepared. I'm just going to adhere this next. And again, just using liquid adhesive. And I'm going to concentrate the adhesive to not be too close to the edges, because I actually don't want the edges completely adhered. And I had placed that there so you don't have to stare at that glare, because I find it to be distracting. Let's see here. So now, just lining that up also. And the good thing about the wet adhesive is it gives you a minute there to kind of think about things. And it's looking like it's going to be darker on top and lighter on the bottom, which is the unusual way to go about ombre, but I don't think it's going to matter in the end. Okay, so there's that. And then I decided to also go ahead and use some lace. And I've got this, and it's a very light blue, and it's going to play off of the blues and greens that I use with the oxides. For this, I think I'm going to maybe use Fabri-Tac. This adhesive is it's great for fabrics, so why not? Now that I have my bead of adhesive there, I'm just going to make sure that that scallop edge faces the outside of my card. And if there's any excess, I can cut it later. Okay, I'll do the same with the other one. And this card comes together quite easily, as I said before. What I did was that I pulled out some colors that I really liked, and I wanted to keep it kind of in a color family, so I used the same for the coloring of the image and the coloring of all the die cuts. So I started off with white paper and then went from there. And now this is gonna go on top here, as you can tell. And it doesn't matter that those edges are, you know, sort of unfinished, if you will, because I'm going to be decorating that. Just gonna go ahead and place my adhesive on the back here. And with this you can be more generous if you want to. And the other benefit of using this heavier cardstock is that it's not going to warp when you add liquid adhesive to it. So that's another thing that's appealing to me about it. Now if you get a smudge like that, which I don't know if you guys can even see that, but let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. You happen to get a little bit of smudge of adhesive, don't worry about it. In this case it's going to be covered, but say you weren't going to cover that, use a rubber eraser, and in 2 seconds you can get that right off. There you go. You have nothing to worry about with that. That's one of the best tools ever. So if you're going to do paper crafting, I highly recommend that. Now what I did was that I wanted to pop this image up a little bit. So I am going to use foam. I'm going to cut that out and show you what it looks like. Okay, for the sake of time, I've placed my foam on the back of my image here. And this is the thicker foam that you can get. So just to let you know, this size foam or this thickness will not fit through the Empress machine. So if you're keen on cutting this type of foam out with a die cut machine, it's not going to fit through that one because again of that low profile that it has. Here's that. And so now my image is popped up a bit, and what I want to do is now I want to decorate these areas around. But the first thing that I want to do is put my little jar of heart candies there. So I'm going to layer the pieces here on top, and I just put a small bit of adhesive there to put the lid on it. And as you can tell, I've also inked all of the edges here because again I want to keep it monochromatic, so I want to make sure that everything looks the same, and when I do that I try to use the same colors throughout. So I want to place that here, and in order to pop that up I need another piece of foam, so I'm going to cut one off just for the edge of that little jar to kind of prop it up. So here's my foam, and I'm just going to eyeball this. I'm going to cut a small piece here. This is how I'll go about this. So I make sure that I have enough for my piece, and I could either adhere it to the card or I can adhere it to the back of my die cut. There's no wrong way of going about that, but I'm just going to wedge that there in that little corner, and then I'll be able to add my die cut on top. It's going to go right there. And then on top of that, I'm going to add the little tag that came with that. Just going to put that right there. I like the look of that. So now I'm going to move on with the flowers. And what I'm doing here also is I'm kind of cupping these a little bit, which you don't have to do, but I think it adds a little bit of dimension there. And let's see, I feel like I'm missing a flower, and I'm thinking of adding this here with this flower on top. This one here. So I'm just playing around a little bit before I adhere anything. So for this I am going to use hot glue. I'm just going to add a little bit here and there, not too much. Just makes it a little bit faster. Oops, I wanted this one first, so let's see here. Let's see if it'll stick with the adhesive that's already there. I think it will. I really like that little butterfly that came with that set. Layer this one. And I really like this set because it's It's simple, but it has enough of an impact there with all of that texture to make a really pretty card. I'll face this one like so. Okay, so far so good. And then I'm gonna land some shiny little butterflies on top. Okay, so I'll add my adhesive there and then layer one on top. Kind of askew. That'll go here. And this is what I meant about that lace, is that don't have to worry too much about that. Here. And to give this one texture, just to let you know, I did add snow text on these little hearts because I wanted them to have just a little bit of shabbiness to them. It's going to go there. And then maybe some in this direction up here. But first I'm going to make sure this is adhered. Then the pink one. And the little blue one. There we go. Put the adhesive on the front so that it'll adhere where I want it. So there's a lot going on here with this card, but it's whimsical and it's sweet. What I'll do is that I will go ahead and decorate the inside of the card also, and that'll cover up that little pencil mark too. So I'm just going to layer my next piece here. And it's okay if the paper's not directional. That's not a big deal because I'm going to put other papers on top for my sentiment and such. And then I'm going to show you what an example of another one of how I'll finish the inside of this card so that you can see. And the other one does have a different stamp on the front, but I'll show you in a moment what that one looks like. So there's that. And, oops, that one wanted to play along. Alright, so there's the finished front of this card. And like I said, I'll take away all the little flyaways that happen there. But I'm super happy with the results. I think it's adorable. And again, it came together quite easily. Here's the other one, and this is, oops, this is also the other stamp that Jolie gave me in the swap that we just participated in. So again, I just wanted to, excuse me, I'm still getting over this cold. I wanted to say thank you to Jolie. It was so very generous of her to give these stamps to me in the swap, and I wanted to put them to good use. I said I would. So here you are. I hope that you guys can be inspired and be blessed. And oh, here's the inside of the other one. So I'll be doing the same, just making sure that the inside of this card is also finished. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at PaintsandGlitter@gmail.com, or I'm also on Facebook as Encourage Arts, or you can visit my website, www.paintsandglitter.com. Be blessed. Bye-bye.